Hey, what's up and welcome. This is Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer from South Africa. I've got one question for you and only one question. What are you gaining? What is the essential skills that you are gaining from YouTube project, specifically coding project? I have just realized that as much as I have been following coding projects, okay, like something like a Dropbox clone using Next.js or a Spotify clone using Next.js, I have learned nothing, zero, nada from those projects, but I didn't know. In this video, I am going to help you to unpack and discover the things that you are missing from following coding project. Maybe you are just like me. You are following coding project thinking that you are learning something. And when you get into the work environment, they are asking for something else. So I've decided to note 3 points to help you understand that you are learning nothing from following YouTube coding project. Are you ready? So in order for me to forget them, I decided to note them down. So the title of this video is the key essential skills that you are missing from following coding project. Killer title, right? Okay. So the first thing that you are missing, okay, or the first challenge from following coding projects, YouTube clones, Next.js clone is problem solving. After I created my own SaaS, software as a service, it's an accounting system, I realized that I have gained a certain problem solving skills that I have never gained from following the clones, the Next.js clone, the Dropbox clone. I never learned those skills. But when I was creating my own SaaS business or SaaS tech startup, I've just realized that there are some certain problems which are problem solving skills which I am learning as I am working on it. Step number two, or the challenge number two, is that unique solution. Tell me, can you generate unique thoughts? Can you generate unique solution if you are not solving problem? Of course not. You generate unique solution or different thought processes when I'm starting to ask you a question. Then with that being said, tell me, if you are following a Dropbox clone, providing a solution from copying someone else's solution, would you come up with unique solution and unique thought processes? Believe me, you are not. Simply because the Dropbox problem has already been there and it has already been solved. So what you are doing, you are just copying it. Okay. So that means you are not training your brain, your mind to generate unique thoughts because you don't have a question to answer. We are just supplying you with the answer. Maybe I might have created a YouTube clone or a Dropbox clone trying to teach you Next.js. Maybe you might have learned some certain skills there, but believe me, I was not teaching you your ability. I was not training your brain to come up with unique thoughts and unique solution because we are not solving any problem, but we are copying a system that is there. Point number three, design and execution. If you have learned coding from YouTube projects, okay, you cannot think, design, and execute. Okay, maybe execution part you might get it because when you are creating a clone or following somebody creating a clone, you are just executing, okay, typing the code, following, coding along. But you don't know how to design an application. You can't design and execute. Maybe the execution part you might get it, but the designing part you are not going to get it. So how did I come about to know and understand this? As I've told you, I have been creating my own accounting system. Okay. I've just realized that first of all, it was difficult for me to gain momentum, to get into the actual process of solving the problem. Then one might ask, what was difficult? Okay. The approach is different. Okay. The approach, it's not like creating a YouTube clone. Believe me, it's totally different. What do I mean by that? Before you solve a real life problem, an application, before you create it, you don't start with npx create next project. It doesn't start from there, but a clone starts with that. Okay, so you think something that a clone is not going to teach you: design, plan, and execute. The YouTube clone will only teach you the last part, which is execution. Picture this for a second. Let me tell you that 64 is the answer. Obviously, your brain is asking yourself, what was the question? If you have asked yourself that, that is exactly what I'm trying to explain to you. I can't give you the answer without the question. Okay. If you have watched the movie The Matrix, there is a very beautiful scene there. I think it's on some sort of maybe the first 30 minutes of the movie, The Matrix 1991. The first, what can I say? Is it called the pilot? I think the pilot, okay? The first movie, The Matrix 1999, Trinity is telling Neo, okay, and whispering into his ears. And she said, it's the question that drives us, Neo. That is very important. I realize that I cannot give you answers without providing questions. So it's the questions that drives us. I need to ask your brain or your mind a question so that I can trigger its ability to think, so that I can inspire it to think. YouTube projects and YouTube clones, they are closing that opportunity. They are shutting down that mental faculty to some sort of help to stimulate your mind to think, to generate independent thoughts. Number one, problem solving skill. Okay. So when you are solving a real world problem, I had to ask myself, I want to create an accounting application. This problem has been with me for a long time. Okay, I have used Xero, I have used QuickBooks, I have used Sage Accounting, but I was not happy. I felt like there is a need for an accounting system by freelancers for freelancers. Okay, I thought there is some sort of a need that is not being catered for by the bigger boys, okay, the bigger dogs. So it has been with me, I think, for plus minus 6 years now. Believe me, I'm not joking. 6 years, okay? Obviously, it's not strictly 6 years working on it. There are some gaps in between, but the idea has been with me for 6 years. After I got all the skills, Next.js skills, coding skills, everything to implement it, I didn't. Why? It was some sort of a bigger elephant. I didn't know where to tackle it. How do I start some sort of fighting this elephant? But somebody might ask, why you didn't know what was the problem? Simply because solving a real life problem, a problem that exists, doesn't start with npx create Next.js app. It doesn't start with a black and white screen, which is Visual Studio Code. So you don't start by coding, you start by planning. Following a YouTube clone won't teach you that planning. So I've said on point number one, when you are following somebody or following a clone, you don't teach your mind to have a problem solving skill. So after I got this idea of an accounting system, and then I asked myself, how do I approach it? I started by randomly coding. Well, I coded and coded for months without winning, without actually solving the problem. Why? The mentality that I was using, the clone mentality, was not taking me there. So I had to step back, close my laptop, take Visual Studio Code outside of my thought process, and start to really think. This is what you are missing. The YouTube clones, they are not helping your mind to really think. So I have been in a thinking stage for some time, okay, getting the approach until I got it. Okay, so after that, I realized that now my mind is starting to think. And I think that is very important, okay, to really, really think about um, uh, problems and provide a unique solution. Okay, so point number two, you don't provide unique solutions. Okay, you don't train your brain to provide with unique solutions. Why is that happening? Simply because if I'm making a YouTube clone, I don't have a question, I don't have a problem. The YouTube engineers or the YouTube guys, the pioneers, the inventors of YouTube, they had a problem that they were solving. As a result, they thought of unique ways to solve the problem. If I am following that system as it is, what problem am I solving? Believe me, no matter how smart, intelligent, or superhuman you are not solving a problem. You are just copying someone else's problem. So one might be, as much as I'm following and copying someone else's solution, I am learning something in the process. Believe me and you, we are on the same boat. I agree and understand that you are learning something, but there is one thing that you are not learning. You are not teaching your brain to generate unique solutions. You are teaching it to follow what is there. It's very important as a developer, more especially if you are calling yourself an engineer. In most cases, when you look at the advertisement or post for front end, well, sometimes it's called front end development, but many posts they refer to it as a front end engineer. Believe me, the engineering part comes from generating unique solutions. Simply because, let's say for some reason, I wake up and I'm a tech billionaire and I want to maybe solve a certain problem. Let's say I want to create my own Spotify and I've got a unique window from which I am viewing the music playing game. Okay. It will mean that I've got a unique perspective and I need someone who's going to stand on the same window as I am and provide solution. Would I hire an engineer or a front-end developer that doesn't want to stand on this unique perspective, but they want to stand on Spotify's perspective because they are used to clones? Even if I can tell them that I am not solving the problem that Spotify is solving, therefore elevate your consciousness. Come here and look at my vision and where I'm going. And the guy keeps on telling me that we need to do it the same way Spotify is doing it. Obviously, that guy is some sort of disqualified from the hiring process because he doesn't want to look at my vantage point and offer a solution because he has been trained thoroughly by YouTube Project's clone to just copy the existing solutions. Okay, so coding projects they are taking away from you in terms of assisting your brain to generate unique thoughts and unique solution. You won't generate a unique solution if you are following YouTube clones and YouTube projects only. Okay, only. Okay, so step number 3, design and execute. So now I was like, okay, fine, I want to solve this unique problem. Okay, maybe the problem might not be unique, but it's unique to me in a way that it has been with me for too long. And I was like, let me get into it. Okay, because it has been with me for too long. Let me solve it. So I am trying to solve this problem. I realize that it starts with thinking about it, designing, planning it, and then execution. Okay, if we are following a clone, okay, number one, we've got a predefined set of tables. On if we're creating a YouTube clone, we must have let's say users. Okay, we must have a table for videos, we must have a table. For now I'm just going to call random videos random tables. Maybe some of them might not make sense. Please understand or bear with me. We are going to have a table for subscribers. The tables are already there. Even maybe even the relationship, okay, how those tables will relate to each other, okay, everything might be there because you know YouTube, you've been using it. Now when you are creating or trying to solve a real life problem, a problem of your own, you will then have to think, which tables do I need? You will find yourself trying to involve tables that don't really exist. Okay, you don't know much about a master table and a detailed table. You are going to come up with imaginary table, and then when you start to execute your SQL or maybe using Prisma, when you start to get into your queries, you will realize that this table, which is somewhere in between, it's imaginary or it's an error. That table doesn't exist. Okay, you will have to eliminate it. Obviously, I know maybe you might have not taken any database design course or whatever. I do understand that, But when you are following a clone, everything has been laid in front of you and you know it because you've been using YouTube. But when you are solving a new problem, you need to come up with these entities. Maybe I'm going to have a table client, okay? And then from then I need to have a table quotation. But quotations have got some content. So now I need to have a detailed table that will carry the content of a quotation, because if you can try to fit in the content of a quotation in the same table, which is quotations, then you are going to have some null values in your own table and you are not going to be efficient. If you don't start something from scratch, you won't know those things, because when you're following a YouTube clone, everything has been laid in front of you and you know it because you are just copying. I am Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer. In case you don't know, I am creating my own accounting system. Obviously, it's something that I'm busy with. If you might have noticed that I've been quiet for some time and I have not been uploading more oftenly. That must be the case. And also other engagements, okay, other future engagements and also other opportunities. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to comment, like, and share. I am Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer from South Africa. See you on the next one.